I'm back. I'm biased, I'm bothered, and I am always unfiltered. If you are easily offended, this is not the place for you. But you still haven't managed to worthy up. Not to worry, let's get into this mess. Season 20 is back, lads, and it did not disappoint. Not at all. Now, you know the way I get lubed up for the new season? I get lubed up for lots of things, okay? Well, basically anything that has got to do with Kody Brown. But I did not know I needed to know this. But once they said it, I realized, oh my God, thank God I know this now. So we're finding out that Kody and Robyn, they just 69 all the time. I thought that's great. Now I know. Get a camera in there so I can actually see it. So these two are in a place called Bricks and they're having lunch, and for some unknown reason, Robyn is just unable to go her cheese all by herself. Anyway, these people are talking about plural life, like, getting another wife and all that. Now, Robyn is adamant, okay, that she wants to share Cody's dick with other people. That's what the woman wants, and I say give it to her. Do you know what? I thought we'd just get that bit out of the way because apparently people think that I'm way too unfiltered. So I want you to know now. That's how unfiltered I am, which is not very unfiltered, but apparently some people think it is. Anyway, if you're going to listen to the rest of the recap, don't deny me then afterwards and say, oh my God, like you're shocking offensive or whatever. Like I gave it to you from the jump, right? That's what we're talking about. Anyway, these two are having lunch because they're after getting the kids off to school. Now we're seeing the kids like getting ready for school, and Cody says that with the OG kids, he didn't get them kids ready for school because he was in work. So they would have been either getting themselves ready or their mothers would have been getting them ready. I thought that's crap, Cody, because Father Logan got all of those children ready, and Cody, he wasn't in work, right? He was in bed because if you remember, Janelle told us back then that Cody would wake up in the morning to give her a kiss goodbye before she went to work. So I'm telling you, Cody is a lying liar that lies. Anyway, in modern day, right? Oh my goodness, Solomon, who's like, I think he's 13, right? But he's getting his hair brushed before school. Now, at 13 years of age, the last thing I wanted in the morning was either of my parents either talking to me or judging of me. They certainly weren't brushing my feckin' hair at 13 years of age. And then I was wondering, do the flowers in the attic, do they still get their hair brushed like in the morning? Because they're about 30 years of age now, you know? But we find out that Ariella, she's still in bed, right? This kid, like, is just still in bed. And Robin is wearing some kind of shapeless floral sack. But the cameraman is zooming in on a drawer full of shite, right? This thing is just full of shite. Now, after this poor child getting his hair brushed on the telly, Cody is telling Robin that Solomon has his phone in his pocket. Now, according to Robin, okay, that's not good for the body, Solomon. That's what she said, right? That's what she says. Now, he's also being told he's 13, right? He's also being told not to spill on his clothes. I thought, the fuck? This poor kid. Imagine all of this happening your first day back in school and like on the telly where all your friends are going to see you. So Robin can't quite go. Like she can't quite go like with the kids on their first day of school. I don't understand why. Does this woman ever leave the house like without the camera crew? I'd love to know that. Anyway, so we're seeing them having their lunch, right? And Cody is saying like basically that he wants more sex, but doesn't want to put his relationship with Cody at risk. I thought I can sort that out for you. Just get an STD check and then it'll all be grand. Now, this is going to be a storyline, okay? I hope it is. It's either going to be a new wife or these people are going to have like a wedding renewal thing. It's going to be one or the other, okay? Now, I'm hoping for both, to be honest with you. I am, because I want to know, you know, when people get a wedding renewal thing, it's usually the death like of that relationship. So I do want to know what happens. Anyway, we're getting a kind of a confessional, right? Now, Cody is saying that he would see a pretty girl and he would be interested in her, but not interested in getting married. So basically, he just wants to shag somebody. Now, Robin says that Cody always had a surplus of intimate relationships. I thought, no, he didn't, Robin. No, he didn't. Because we know, right? He wasn't banging Meri. He hadn't been banging her for years. And Christine told us that they were banging like a couple of times, like, you know, in a year, they'd have a quick bang, right? So he wasn't. Now, I think with Janelle is like, can't be bothered, like, you know. So I was wondering, right? Cody is interested in someone new, But he says if they adored Robyn, is this guy wanting a trouble? Like, because he doesn't mention like that the person has to adore the tenders. He's like, fuck those kids, you know? So I was wondering if is that what he's interested in now, you know? A bit of a trouble. Because he's old. Like he's hitting 60, you know? He probably wants to get all the things in, all the places. Now Robyn says, right, that she wants Kody to contact his kids, right? And that she nags him to do it. And I thought that's great. But Robyn, have you ever picked up the phone to speak to any of the OG kids? I really do want to know that. Oh, anyway, we're hearing about Coyote Pass. Now, Cody says he doesn't want to clean up this land because Meri and Janelle aren't being kind and he doesn't want to do anything to help them. Now, Janelle reckons he's a liar, right? And it's basically all Cody stuff. And I was thinking, even when this was filmed, right, the fifth wheel, it definitely wouldn't have been there. I don't think so. You know, I wouldn't imagine so. Anyway, now we're in North Carolina with Maddie and Caleb and Janelle. I do like Caleb. I like him a lot. So I'm going to pretend that he didn't marry his cousin who was 10 years younger than him, okay? I've always really liked Maddie. I always liked her. So the three of them are talking about Cody. Now it's very obvious that Caleb hates this guy. Caleb cannot stand him, which is so ironic because do you remember Cody was so in love with this guy? He really was. He couldn't get enough of him. He wanted them to move home like to when they were having their first baby Axel. He wanted them like to live at home, you know. This guy is so stupid. I'm not talking about Caleb, by the way, I'm talking about Cody. Anyway, we find out that Janelle is loving, okay? She's just loves living in this place, North Carolina. And apparently she's taken some classes in a coffee shop. I don't know what kind of classes. Is that like training to be a barista or something? I want to know more about that, but she didn't tell us anymore. So Janelle is saying, right, she just wants to get rid of the property. And Caleb says, but Cody would want everything to be fair. And Janelle is like, no, he doesn't. As long as it's fair for Cody, like that's all he's interested in. Now, Janelle is telling us that she is interested in a spiritual divorce, which I'm delighted to know, right? I'm delighted to know that because I think it would give her a bit of closure. Now, Janelle says something which I completely agree with because Janelle reckons if polygamy was legal, it would probably like end polygamy because men wouldn't want to share their assets. You know, like if a wife left or he went off as no, like he wouldn't want to be dividing his assets. I'm telling you, this woman has sense, right? Just legalize this shit, you know? Now, Janelle is delighted that she lives in North Carolina because she thinks that being in Flagstaff after Garrison passed away, it just would have been too much for her, okay? And then we're hearing from Maddie. Now, I have to say, this is heartbreaking, okay? So she's talking about after Garrison's funeral. So Maddie and Leon were talking, and they did extend an olive branch to Robin's kids. Now, Maddie says that Leon is over Cody. Like, you know, Leon is just over Cody, but Maddie hasn't gotten to that place yet. Now, she also says that she feels partially responsible for everything that happened. I thought that is so unfair, but it's all not only is it unfair, right? It's also untrue because Cody is a piece of shit, right? We all know that. But also, like he abandoned the whole family, you know. But she's getting so upset when she's talking about this. I mean, she's in floods of tears. She really, really is upset because she just says like that she wants a dad to show up. I thought, feckin' hell, my heart was broken watching this. I will be honest. But then we hear from Cody, right? Now, Cody says he'd love to have a relationship with the OG kids, but he doesn't know what to do. I thought, pick up the phone for the start, you fucking idiot, you. Like, that's all you have to do, you know, just pick up the fucking phone. Anyway, Christine and David and some of the other family, now they're like in Madison's house, right? So I believe this was filmed for Everco because we see Aspen here. Now we know obviously in modern day that Aspen has just had her baby or else she's about to have her baby. So I don't know when the hell this was filmed. Anyway, we find out that Maddie is training for a marathon. Now, I will say, right, I think that Christine and David are kind of getting on Janelle's nerves a little bit because now David wants to race Maddie. Now, David and Christine, I will say these two are so well suited because if you remember back like to the OG family, right? Back to the older days, the good old days, right? Christine was always like really competitive, like just a bit of crack. So These two are just, they're the perfect match for each other. So now Maddie and David are racing, and David wins. I thought, don't do that, David. Do you know, my sister and I were doing a marathon, okay? And my nanny decided that she was going to do it with us. And my sister and I had to warn each other, do not put your foot over that line without nanny. Like, do not even think about doing it. You know, like if you're just having a bit of crack or you're just messing around, always just let the other person win. Like, always just let that happen. But anyway, it's so obvious, right? It is so obvious that Janelle really does like David, okay? And all the kids really like David. But I think the issue for Janelle is he's probably just a bit too high energy for her, you know? Anyway, so Janelle is showing us an aerial map like of the property, but they're just kind of pointing to where things are going to be built. I don't see any drawings on this, like they're literally just pointing to it. But something that she wants to have on the property is a garden in memory of Garrison. Now, not just for Garrison, okay, but for people who have struggled with mental health and who have lost their battle. So it's kind of like a memorial garden. Oh, anyway, I just thought that was such a beautiful idea, okay? And I will be honest, I did start crying because I am an absolute what not our whinger. And also, the driveway into the property is going to be called Bob's Boulevard because, as we know, of course, Garrison's name was Robert and his family called him Bob. So I love that, okay? I love that he's been included. Do you know what else, right? I was thinking. I love that we're talking about Garrison, okay? Because I sometimes think that when a person has passed away, especially like that, we only talk about them in those terms, you know. We don't see the bigger picture. Like, you know, because Garrison had such a big family, he was so loved, you know, and he loved so many people. There's so much more to this guy than just, you know, the very end of his life. So I did actually love that, you know. Anyway, we're popping over to Meri and Jen, and we find out that Meri is going to go speed dating. And she reckons, okay, that it's the most organic way to meet a man in Salt Lake. I thought, no, it's not, but you do you, you know. Now, unfortunately, she has chosen to wear this awful looking red blazer. This is not her colour at all. But I will say, right, Mary's smile is beautiful. I think she got rid of the dead tooth, or else she just bleached it like to within an inch of its life. But it's looking gorgeous. Like her smile is actually, it's gorgeous, right? Like her whole face, like just lights up. I love to see her like that. So we are finding out that unfortunately, Mary does snort when she laughs. I wouldn't be able to deal with that. I don't do well with facial noises unless it's from a small kid, right? If there's a face noise, I'm out. Now, Cody thinks it's fine, right? Like it's just funny if people laugh, like you know, people fart when they're laughing. I thought, is that why we never see like Robin laughing? Is that why? Is she always farting? I want to know. These are the things I want to know. But anyway, it's both Jen and Mary that are going to the speed dating. I thought, why the hell is Jen going with her? Like she's a grown woman, you know. I love Jen, by the way. Now I know that some people don't, but I do. I love her. So we're finding out that Mary is looking for somebody who has kind eyes and is at least 6 foot tall. So basically, she wants somebody to complete another opposite of Cody Brown. But you know what? I was thinking, right? Mary, just be looking for somebody who's real. Like, just and check the person out because we don't want another catfish and we certainly don't want another Amish, you know? Just let's lower our standards a little bit. Now, Mary says, right, she's talking about the guy like being tall. She keeps going on about like 6 foot, but like that's just average height for the guy, you know, like it's literally just an average height. Anyway, so Mary and Jen, like they're in the car and they're practicing the speed dating. And Mary is wondering when she should tell like the speed date person about her life and that she was a polygamist and like that there's 18 kids in the family. I thought, Mary, don't talk to them. Just basically say to the person, I have one kid, their name is Leon, and I also have a Gwen that pops in every now and again. That's it, right? Because like she hasn't been a polygamist for over a decade. I thought, calm down, calm down. But apparently she did tell somebody that she was like an ex-polygamist and he wasn't interested in going out with her. That's what Mary says. But I was wondering, right, maybe it's the camera crew. Maybe like this person is just not interested in being on reality telly, you know? So get somebody who is, because we all want to see it. Anyway, we're hearing from Janelle. Now, she's not interested in anything, right? She says that it would have to be an organic meeting. Lads out there in the United States of America, step up. This woman is a catch, right? So step up your game. So we're back with Janelle. Now she's thinking of putting cabins on the land so that everybody can visit. I love Janelle, right? I do. This is not gonna happen. It's not. Do you know what? I think it'd be more realistic if she says that she's gonna go for a bit of glamping, like glamping style tents. They're not gonna put cabins up there. I want it to be true. I love that for her, right? But I live in the real world. That's not gonna happen. So she just wants somewhere basically where everybody can be together. But Christina's saying she also wants somewhere that everybody can be together. Now, she's not interested in Carolina, right? She's letting us know, Christina's letting us know, it's too wild, it's too much land, it's not for her, right? And Janelle tells us that Christine, she's definitely like a city kind of girl, right? So we're all celebrating this land. Well, what I think is champagne, I think it is. And we see another photograph of Garrison, right? And he's standing in front of a fire because apparently, okay, when he was a kid, he was a bit of a pyromaniac. I thought that's very relatable, very relatable. So the OG kids want to recreate that picture. I love that. I love that they were going to do that. So anyway, we're back with Dumb and Dumber, okay? And Robyn is telling us that loads of men wanted to marry her when she was young and skinny, I suppose. But she said no because they weren't on the telly. Or sorry. I meant she said no because they weren't interested in polygamy. Anyway, we're finding out that Cody refers to the OG3 as sister witches, and now apparently Janelle loves that name, right? The woman doesn't give a shit. She doesn't give a crap. Now, according to Cody, the OGs did welcome Robyn, but then like the 11-day honeymoon in San Diego, like the wives just weren't happy about that. But that's too bad, so sad, and they just have to. Sorry, I was gonna say deal. They just have to deal with it. And Cody says that he just can't put himself through that anymore, and he's asking Robyn, Robyn, are you okay with just me? If I don't bang somebody else, will that be okay with you? I thought this is just so bizarre. So of course she's saying like, hell yeah, I'll be okay with that. So these are Pinky promising each other and swapping cheesy spits, okay, to seal the deal that Cody will only bang Robyn going fart. I thought good for them, but also bring on the hot new skinny chick because I want to. I'm here, okay? I'm here to the very end. And by the way, for people out there saying that this is the last season, you're wrong because McKelty says that it's not the last season. Oh, thank God, where would I be without the Browns? So we're popping back over to Meri and Jen in Salt Lake doing the speed dating, right? Now I'm watching this show and there's loads more time left on it, but for some reason the credits just start rolling as Meri is like doing the speed dating. I don't know why, but it did actually make me laugh. Anyway, we're seeing the trailer of Cody telling Robyn, okay, that someone is sliding into his DMs, wanting to get to know them. I thought, hell yeah, baby, I'm here for that. Now, I will say, right, we're seeing like a few clips for this season, but we have already seen them. I am very interested in Cody doing the apology tour just because I want to see this man grovel a little bit. I like to see a person getting humbled. That's the kind of telly that I'm interested in. Anyway, that is our recap. I hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, go ahead and hit subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Have a great day.